Hello, today we're going to be looking at Alice. Alice is a free animation software, also a little bit of coding involved here that's drag and drop coding, very similar to what we've seen in an hour of code. So hang on and let's enjoy the trip through Alice. For this assignment, you're going to open the Word document. It's Lab 1, Part 1. Now it starts off, it's talking about a little bit of hello world here, a little history. But the first thing we're going to be looking at is the algorithm. Now algorithm sounds like a scary math term, but it's really just the order of operations, how things are going to happen. So in this case, we're going to have Alice turn to face the white rabbit. Alice then moves towards the white rabbit. It doesn't have to be 4 meters. We're just going to move towards him. Alice says, "Hello, rabbit." And there's optional audio if you want. The rabbit then turns to Alice and says, "Hello, Alice, you are late." And then they both turn at the same time to face the camera, and then Alice says, "Hello, world." So that's the order of operations. There are steps in here in the instructions that are showing you, but I'm also going to go through that in this video. So the first thing we need to be doing is opening Alice. So go to your search bar and type in Alice, and that'll open Alice up. Now when you open that up, you'll see you have at the top here, select properties, you have blank slates, and that's where we'll be starting, but you also have starters, which are really cool. This is the Alice 3 version. So you have some that are already pre-built in the background. You also have My Projects when you've saved them, recents, and some file systems. So we're going to just start though with a blank slate. We are starting with Alice. We're just going to go to the grass, or you could go to Wonderland. Let's just do that since this is Alice. And it'll then open up this background scene, which was coming up here. So now we see we have, this is the scene over here, how we lay this out, and then over here is a little bit, so we need to go to setup scene first. So we're going to set up the scene, so we click that, and then it'll come over here, and sometimes it takes a little bit, so just hang in there. So now we have our scene setup, and we're going to be looking down here to add things. So we have the biped class, flying class, props class, quadruped, and so on. So within these, they're pretty general categories. For instance, the biped class, we're going to have rabbits and aliens and all that sort of stuff in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag an Alice out of here. You can just click on it and name it if you want. I'm just going to leave it named at that. And so there's my Alice, and then I'm going to scroll over and find the rabbit, and I'm going to set it up very similar to what we have in the image. So go ahead and do that. Okay, we're still in the scene, and you'll see I've set up things here, and sometimes a faster way to do it is you do the search gallery and you type it in, and then you can place it and you can move them in here and you can do these adjustments here. You notice in the upper right hand corner we are in the default mode, and so you can see when I mouse over this I can turn it this way and that way, or if I click on my rabbits, if I want him facing, I'm going to have him turning it to face away a little bit. I'm going to have Alice over here. I'm going to move her off this way a little bit. We want her out of the sight for a bit. We also have the rotation. So you'll see when I click on rotation on here, and then I can click and I can rotate the item anyway. You just have to mouse over it, and you'll see that the ring changes color. And you'll notice these big rings, they go clear around underneath. The center point is here, in this case, the feet. And then again, if I want to move, I can go up and down. Got to make sure I'm on him. You see that it changes color. I can take him. Now he's up off the ground. I want to put him back on the ground. Resizing, maybe I want him to be smaller or bigger. I can make him huge or make him small. So that's what these buttons over here do. So that's this next setup. So we are here. Now the next thing we have to do is we're going to change the camera, and you'll see there's the camera markers down here. So it's a good idea just to start with a default or starting position or something like that. So just, I know I have a camera set up here, and so you can see as I'm moving around here a little bit, oops, that I've changed, well now I've really messed it up here. There's my camera right there, and I'm pushing down on my mouse roller button. So this is much easier if you have a mouse to do this. You can do some of the same stuff with it, but so I'm here and I want to go back to my starting position. So to do that, I'm going to go from here, I'm going to click on this first one that has the black to the red, and I am now looking through my camera again. So in the instructions it says you should be closer to the rabbit, have Alice just out of sight, and I can use these. I can also just do my mouse on the screen to get there. So say I'm wanting to start right here. I'm going to set this camera up as well, add a new camera, and I'm going to say rabbit 1 or something like that. When you're naming these, you cannot put spaces in there. It can be uppercase and lowercase and numbers, but you cannot have a space in there. Okay, so we have that. So now again, I want to go back to my original view. I can do that by clicking on here, you'll see it goes there, and I'm going to go back to that camera. Well, I want to start in my other view to start. So I'm going to click there. I'm going to go to that view. So here's where I'm going to start. I am now going to go to my edit code. So now we're starting here. Alice needs to turn to face the rabbit. So I don't even see her right at the moment, but that's okay. I'm going to click on this Alice. These are the things that she can do now. I'm going to have her turn to face, and I'm going to just drag that code over here, turn to face, and then I'm going to click this March Hare. And then I'm going to have her move. Now, I avoid the move towards because they have a tendency to go down under the ground. So I'm just going to have her move forward, and then I will guess 10. I'm going to run to see what that does. So she turned to face him. Oh, well, must not have been near far enough. So I'm going to change this to 20. Oh, I have to go to custom number, and I'm going to type in 25. Let's see what that does. Okay, well, we'll pause and see what happens. Okay, you probably saw, but I didn't catch it initially. I have turn and move down. I meant to move forward. Okay, now I'm going to run that. You can see I pulled back a little bit so I can see how close she's getting to him. And that's not bad. I'm going to actually change this to 12. And so there we go. And 12 and run. And so we can see that she's going closer. And there we go. That's what we want to do. So the next thing she is supposed to do is she is supposed to say, "Hello, rabbit." So we have to go down here a little bit, and she will say, oh, yeah, we're on this Alice, and Alice will say, we can have the play audio or have her repeating that. Oh, it's right at the top there. Say, and we can custom text string, "Hello, rabbit." Okay, and then if I run that, you can see what she does there. So she turns, "Hello, rabbit," and there we go. So I'm going to do the next few steps in here, and you can see what I did. All right, so I just had Alice turning to the rabbit turning to face Alice, saying his line. And then before I do the next thing, I wanted to show you this, because when you do together, it's clear down on the bottom. So I bring up a do together, and I have this Hare turn. I need to have him turn to face. And I'm going to say this camera. And then I'm also going to Alice, and Alice turn to face this camera. And then Alice says, outside of that turn together, oh, again, custom text string, "Hello, world." Okay, now I can run that, but I want to go back to the scene setup and see about changing the camera angle. So I'm going to go to this camera angle here. And then I'm also going to zoom in here and do a little changing here, up a little, angle up a little bit, yep, right there. And I'm going to call this close up. Close up. Oh, and why is it not letting me do that? Because I put a space in there. Remember I said you can't have a space, and then okay. And now I'm going to go back to my starting camera. So this is the one I'm going to use to start with. Okay, and then back to edit code. And then I have that camera in there. I'm going to change the camera. I want to go to this camera. Okay, oh, well, if it's not going to let me click on it, I'm going to go to this camera. And I'm going to turn to face. So for the camera, when I went to this camera, I went to turn or move and orient to, and I drug it right up to here. And make sure you choose the right camera. It's this close up. And so let's just see what that looks like. I'm starting with my closer one. Alice comes up. Then rabbit turns to her. We get a little closer up. "Hello, Alice, you're late." They both turn to face, and she says, "Hello, world." And that's the end of the activity. So have fun with that.